In this video, I'm going to review using order of operations to solve problems or simplify problems without a calculator. Let's take a look, first of all, at the primary way to remember order of operations. You might remember this PEMDAS acronym, which just stands for P, stands for parentheses. We're going to do that first when they're in an expression to evaluate. We will follow that by doing the exponents. Then multiplication or division. Those are sort of tied. We do those next, and we will do them from left to right as they appear in the problem. And then addition and subtraction are also tied, and we will do those from left to right. That means whatever comes first, whether it's addition or subtraction, as we look at the problem from left or right, will be done first. Another way to remember PEMDAS is please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, if that helps. So I'm just going to look at 3 quick examples here to try to demonstrate how this can be used to evaluate a problem. It's helpful when you do problems like the one on the screen right now to break them down at a piece at a time. So when we use that acronym PEMDAS and parentheses come first, that means we want to do whatever in a parenthesis or simplify whatever is inside of a parenthesis first. Now, you still might be forced to use the other order of operations when evaluating things inside of a parenthesis. Now, here we can see that there's only one thing inside of this parenthesis. So we'll do that first. 3 plus 2 is 5. So that leaves us with 5 to the second power. Let's do that other parenthesis here. 6 minus 2 times 2. And then all of that is going to get squared. But first, we need to do the part inside the parenthesis. Now, here's where order of operations comes in. We notice we have subtraction and multiplication. Now, this form of multiplication may be a little bit unfamiliar with you or to you. Sometimes we will use an asterisk to represent multiplication. So that's what that means in this case, 2 times 2. And since multiplication comes first, we're going to do that step next. So I'm going to say 6 minus 2 times 2 is 4. And that's still going to get squared after we're done. Now, this parenthesis is complete. We have nothing else to do there. We can just rewrite that part. This parenthesis, we still need to simplify. 6 minus 4 is 2. So now this just got a whole lot simpler. 5 to the second power plus 2 to the second power. Now, in the acronym PEMDAS, exponents comes next. That means we should do exponents before adding. So 5 to the second power is 25. 2 to the second power is 2 times 2. That's 4. And we only have one more operation to perform. That's addition. 25 plus 4 is 29. That would be the answer to example 1. Moving on to example 2. We look over this problem and we see that we have an exponent and we have these square brackets. Those are just another form of parentheses. That means we should do all of this first before squaring the result. And we have parentheses on the inside. So let's do those parentheses first. Let's do this. 1 plus 2 is 3. We don't need those parentheses anymore once we've simplified that, so we can just write 3. Over here, we have 5 minus 2 times 2. Again, we have multiplication here and subtraction. We need to do the multiplication first. So in the interest of not making a mistake, we're going to do this a step at a time. And we're going to say that now simplifies to that. 5 minus 4, because we did this multiplication, 2 times 2. That became 4. Let's simplify one step further. We need to finish simplifying this parenthesis before we can go any further. Fortunately, that's easy. 5 minus 4 is just 1. So now we can drop the parenthesis. That doesn't do anything anymore. And we are left with 3 plus 1 to the second power. This, even though these are square brackets, we still treat them like parentheses. We have to do this first. That becomes 4 to the second power. Now that we've completed everything inside all of these parentheses, we can now apply the exponent. 4 to the second power is 16. You should be familiar with these basic squares. 2 times 2 is 4, 3 times 3 is 9, 4 times 4 is 16. That will help you solve these problems that involve, that don't allow you to use a calculator. One more example. This one looks like a fraction, and it is a fraction. We want to remember that a fraction like this is just the division. The fraction bar is just like division. So we want to do everything on the top side of that fraction bar first, everything on the bottom side second, and when we're all done simplifying the top and the bottom, then we can look at using the division. 5 times 2 is 10. That simplifies the top. We have our division bar, and then we have to simplify the bottom. And we have to start with what's in these parentheses. 1 plus 2 will be 3. So 3 to the second power, and then minus 4. We're still working on simplifying the bottom, and PEMDAS tells us parentheses. We don't have any parentheses anymore. Then exponents. We have an exponent, so let's do that next. 3 to the second power is 9. So 10 over 9 minus 4. Now, as I said, we need to completely simplify the top and the bottom before we try to do the division. So let's complete the bottom. 9 minus 4 is 5. So that's 10 divided by 5. And 10 divided by 5 is 2. So that finishes our answer for that one. The reason for this example was to just show you that when it looks like a fraction, don't be intimidated by that. Simply complete the bottom, complete the simplification of the top, and that's what we did here. And we ended up with 10 divided by 5, and then we divided at the very end. Sometimes this might be a fraction. Sometimes it will end up being an integer like 2. I hope that helps. It's time for some practice.